to the channel, everyone, and today we're going to be talking about the Black-Eyed Kids and if they're vampires. I want to thank you guys for 300 subscribers. I don't really know how to thank you guys other than to just say thank you. But let's go ahead and get started here. So, Matthew 6:22 through 23. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? It's interesting because their eyes are dark, I mean, fully, right? Not just a little bit. They're full, fully dark. So, Proverbs 30:11 through 15. There is a generation that curseth their father, and doth not bless their mother. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet not as washed from their filthiness. There is a generation, oh how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. This very well could be, the elves, but in vampires, kind of have a dark elvish look to them, right? So, interesting. There is a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives, to devour the poor from the earth, and needy from among men. Who does that sound like? Right? Vampires. The horse leech had 2 daughters, crying, Give, give. There are 3 things that are never satisfied. Yea, 4 things say not, It is enough. So there's vampires in the Bible. You have where there's, what darkness can do, And then you have vampires, right? So, anyways. So this is PBS. Make sure I got it turned down enough. So as you can see, it's on the PBS website. We're not going to watch the full thing, of course. And this is just for educational purposes only. And I'll chime in when, I need to chime in and all that. So, let's go ahead and full screen that.
You're relaxing at...
Hold on. Jeez. Turn it down just a tad bit. Okay.
At home when there's a knock on the door. You peer through the peephole and see a small child with their hoodie obscuring their face. You open your door and ask if they need help, but when they look up, you are staring into black, lifeless eyes. It's not hard to figure out why these creatures horrify us so much. It's in their name. Black-eyed children or black-eyed kids, also known as BEK, are modern monsters whose eerie and unnatural appearance and behavior inspire.
See, look at those eyes. Now, I think these are just like, doctored photos and stuff like that. But, you're going to notice here that they ask for permission to get in, right? And that's part of the vampire lore is they have to ask permission, right? So.
Fear. The unusual eyes are unnerving, but it's the age of these monsters that really amps up the terror. What is it about evil children that freaks us out so much? I'm Dr.
Okay, let me...
He had 2 years prior while he was... This is Monstrum.
Okay.
The first report of a black-eyed kid appeared in 1998. Texan reporter Brian Bethel wrote of an experience he had 2 years prior while he was sitting in his car near a movie theater.
Okay, so he was a reporter, right? This isn't just some, nut job down the street.
Bethel claimed that his car was approached by two boys around the ages of 9 and 12 wearing hooded sweatshirts. One appeared as
Even though we know journalists can be nut jobs as well. So I guess that ain't a great example, but anyways, you get the point.
an olive-skinned, curly-headed young man, and the other a red-headed, pale-skinned, freckled young man. Bethel opened the window a crack, and the two boys asked for a ride to their mother's house to pick up some money.
This is why I also think this isn't part of the alien, hybrid stuff. But then again, it could be. Like, I'm not saying that it's not.
So they could see the Mortal Kombat movie. To this day, Bethel recalls that when the second one of the boys spoke, he felt an unnatural sense of dread. He pointed out the movie had already started and they wouldn't make it back in time.
See, this now, that's a common thing when people experience this stuff, alien abductions, or whatever, with the supernatural entity, I guess I should say. They always have this fear that comes from it, right? In the Bible, right, there's that fear, and then they come and say, hey, be at peace, I come from God, or you know what I mean? But when you experience this stuff, there's usually is that fear, right?
But the boys began to
But with these guys, it's like they feed on it, right?
push harder, saying things like they were just two kids and that they didn't have a gun or anything. Bethel describes their voices as mechanical and
That's
rehearsed.
not good.
The strange experience culminated in terror when he realized each boy had black eyes, soulless orbs, with no white showing at all. Understandably unnerved, he began to drive away, but one of the boys banged on his window and angrily cried,
Listen to this. Just listen to this.
"We can't come in unless you tell us it's okay. Let us in." Bethel sped off, and upon checking his rearview mirror, he noted that the strange black-eyed children had completely vanished.
That's important too.
In 2013, Bethel wrote that his strange experience with these children was originally shared in a private communication with a small group of friends on an email list that then was leaked onto the internet. I couldn't find any evidence of this original document, but Bethel's story is undoubtedly the foundation of all BEK lore, and that
Alrighty, so there you guys go. So now I'm going to read this. It's from TV Tropes. Okay. Going back in various mythologies is the idea that supernatural beings, such as vampires, ghosts, demons, witches, what have you, cannot enter into a home unless invited to do so. Often such beings will try to gain interest by tricking a person into believing they are someone else. Once invited, don't expect locked doors to be obstacles to their entry. Yeah, true. This trope is very old. Traditionally, this trope applied to mythical creatures in general. And there's a load of things that are supposed to invite them in. There's a load of things that are supposed to invite them in, like putting new shoes on the table or bringing white hawthorn into a house. Now you know. Its applications to different types of supernatural creatures have expanded over the years. More often than not, the original conceptions of these mythical creatures are identifiable by this trope. Today, this requisite is almost exclusively associated with vampires, a mark of Dracula left on vampire fiction. But there are few other creatures that this trope pops up for occasion. Ghosts, demons, and fairies. Fairies is an interesting thing. And I know there's a guy named Gary Wayne. um, he talks about how aliens could come from the fairy, the Fae, right? The Fae type of bloodline. There's like, different types. You got, which, interesting enough, elves are part of the Fae too, as well, which is interesting. But, anyways, I digress. Let me move on here. So now we're gonna go. Let's see, what's the guy's name? They're probably not gonna name it, or no. Okay. Anyways, so two teenagers whose names haven't changed to protect their identity. Okay, makes sense. Had been separated due to the COVID pandemic, so decided to camp illegally together in the middle of the forest. The youngsters, who were 17 at the time, recounted their ordeal to supernatural investigator and author Lee Brickley. Their tales featured in the new book Haunted Canuck Chase. Canuck, my goodness, Haunted Canuck Chase. True ghost stories from the UK spookiest location. Canuck, is that, if somebody's from the UK, maybe let me know what that says there. That's Canuck, could be Canoke, but anyways. It was around midnight when the teens heard something moving around outside their tent, thinking it could be a deer. They remained still and quiet, not wishing to spook it. But when they realized they could hear footsteps, they unzipped the tent to take a peek. I don't know if I would. Both campers heard the sound of a small child giggling, so they turned on their torches, lighting up the dark woodland to try and find the source. Ben spotted it first, running from the tree, hiding itself behind the trunks, and occasionally peering out towards the couple before they finally stepped out in the clearing in front of them. Kylie said, I was absolutely terrified. I read the stories in the news about the black-eyed child, but it wasn't until the thing stood right in front of me that I could quite believe them. I knew instantly that we were dealing with the real thing because it moved in ways humans simply can't move. It was like it could teleport from one place to another, and there are instances where vampires themselves have done that in ancient mythologies and stuff like that. So, anyways, okay, hiding behind the trees. Okay, Ben added, I was shining my torch right at her, and she just stood there staring at us with her head slightly dipped. That's when the giggling started to get louder and louder. It really sounded like it was coming from all around us, even though I could see she was right in front of us. It was really disorienting for a few seconds. Then she bent down for a moment as adjusting her shoes, stood back up, and ran off down a nearby path through a dense section of trees. The frightened pair huddled together in their tent, waiting for the sun to rise. There's no place like home. Okay, sorry. When they came outdoors at 7 a.m., they found piles of stones evenly spaced around the perimeter of their tent, and a strange stick formations hanging from the trees, which looked like dream catchers. Interesting. Slightly shaken, they packed up so that, I would think twice about putting dream catchers in your home. Okay, just saying. Nothing against, Native Americans and all that, but these symbols and stuff like that bring in stuff, right? It's not a shield. It usually brings them in, right? Okay, Arthur Lee has been looking into the spooky goings on at Cannock, whatever it is, Chase for the last decade and has released 4 books about his findings. He believes he had his own encounter with the black-eyed child in Birches Valley in April 2018. Okay, Lee said she appeared about 100 meters out in front of me. She stared right at me for about 30 seconds, then vanished without a trace. Interesting. Okay. Genesis 15:1. Now we're going to see there was a website where it talked about there's like a supernatural, force field, within the house that the vampires and stuff couldn't get through, but I couldn't find it. But anyways, Genesis 15:1. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield, and thy exceedingly great reward. So this is probably why they have to ask, right? And another reason why, so, blood, right? What does God say? The blood is in, or life is in the blood. So he's protecting that, right? But if you invite them in or let them in, you're basically, taking God's hand of protection and you're taking it off and you're saying, come on in. You know what I mean? But anyways, Leviticus 17:10-14. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh atonement for the soul. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, No soul of you shall eat the blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat the blood. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof, and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh, the blood of it for the life thereof. Therefore I said, or the blood of it is for the life thereof. Okay, sorry. I said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of the flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth shall be cut off. So there you go. So Deuteronomy 32:17. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God. To gods whom they knew not. With this is interesting here. To new gods that came newly up. The Rephaim, whom your fathers feared not. We'll get into what Rephaim is here in a second. So 1 Chronicles 24, or right here. Okay. And it came to pass, for after this, that there arose war at Gezer with the Philistines, at which time Sibbecai the Hushathite, slew Sippai. That was the children of the giant. Right here is the word Rephaim, the Hebrew word Rephaim, and they were subdued, which is proof that Rephaims are giants. Not all of them, but they're Nephilim reanimated, right? So, which is what you see in a lot of. Now, I'm not saying the black-eyed children are necessarily that. They could be. They definitely very well could be. But they're vampires, right? And how vampires have this trope of reanimation and stuff like that. Okay, so Rapha. Let's see where it says. Proper name Rapha. inhabit the area east of Jordan, or inhabitants of the area east of Jordan. The origin word Rapha oh, that's not it. Hold on a second. Where is it? Here we go. So Rapha, become fresh, completely healed, healed, healer, healing, heals, physician, physicians, purified, reappeared, repaired, take care. Okay. So Matthew 10:34. Think not that I come to send peace on the earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword. So I want to give you a solution against this stuff, right? I guess I should have said that first before I read this verse. Luke 10:19. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, over the power of the enemy, or over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Sorry guys, I'm scatterbrained and I'm rushing a little bit, so I apologize. But so this is that sword. It's that authority, right? And he is the Word, right? The Word of God. So he is the sword, right? And what is it? God. The Godhead is the shield. Jesus the sword, Godhead the shield, right? And you gotta have both. And a sword is an offensive weapon, right? It's an attack weapon. That's what he's saying here, but unfortunately we don't have Christians equipped with this stuff anymore, right? We don't. Unfortunately. We've equipped people to sit in a storage room, instead of going out there and, fighting on the front lines. And I don't mean, physically, I'm talking about spiritually, winning hearts, changing people, being an example of Jesus Christ, People aren't going to change unless they see it through you, Now, I'm not saying you're going to be perfect, trust me. Yeah, we all have things we deal with, but anyways. Revelation 11:3-6. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, and devour their enemies. This is that word, that sword, right? That God is giving these 2 witnesses, whoever they are. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. See, there's that shield and, sword. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over the waters to turn them to blood, smite the earth with all plagues, and as often as they will. This is the power. This is that sword of Jesus Christ, right? It ain't yours or mine, it's his. And he can stop these, right? Alien abductions, these black-eyed children, all this weird stuff, right, that happens to people who don't have that shield and sword, right? And I wish this would get out to the whole world, but unfortunately, all I can do is get it to people who are willing to listen. So, whatever the black-eyed children are, vampires, alien hybrids, or just straight human Raphaim or whatever, who knows? I think they're vampires, but I haven't found any evidence of them actually, biting necks or anything. So that's why there's a question mark, in the title. But anyways, guys, I thank you for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day.